Hello. It is the Pewee Pinnacle Hip Litigation Podcast with me, your host, Glenn. And this is the important 5 after the divide edition, we'll call it. And what we're going to talk about today is, I mentioned that for all of us who are still stuck in line, and we have not seen any of that money that's supposed to be out there, I have an alternate plan. Now, the plan is not perfected. I'm going to turn it over to an attorney first and have him or her look through it and make sure that it's all legal. But I do think there's a way that, just like an insurance policy, we could lessen our risk by dividing it amongst a large number of people. And what we would do, and I'm going to be starting this up in January, so you won't have to come looking for it. You'll get a notice. As long as you ring that bell on the podcast, you'll get a notification of when it started. But the way it would work, in my idea, and it's just a daydream now, but all of us who are in line that have an offer on the table, in other words, if they didn't make us an offer, then we have to assume that they know that there's not enough value to your case to take it to court. But those of us who have a value offer on the case, let's say over $50,000, or we could think about it and say, well, it has to be over $100,000. But everybody who has an offer on their case, so that we know that the case really does, in some degree, scare Johnson & Johnson, what we'll do is we will organize, and we will look to see, before we do anything, is there any quick way to find out where we are in line? Now, my understanding is there is not. If you know of one, let me know so that we can look to trim the perimeters of this program. But what we would do is, as long as the cases are still out there and Johnson & Johnson is still futzing around, then what we'll do is we will get together, probably on Skype or something like that, and we'll just sign an agreement, each one of us, that says, hey, the special damages, in other words, the money that the court awards for our pain and suffering, our medical bills, etc., are our own. Those are not part of the agreement. But if we are awarded any punitive damages, and those are the ones that everybody keeps getting $100 million, then we will split what we actually get, because Johnson & Johnson is talking all of the people down. Now, it's funny, I'm getting off track here. My worthless substitute attorney for the one who was worthless and died, he sent me a letter saying, those people that won those hundreds of $1 million, they're hardly seeing any of it. Johnson & Johnson's not paying them. They're cutting it way down. They're really, it's not even a good thing they won. Because he wants me to accept the offer that's on the table. Because he knows if I don't accept the offer that's on the table, he will be standing in front of the judge, and the judge will be saying, Billy, are you ready to go to trial or not? Your Honor, I thought the case was going to settle. Billy, you know that is not a valid excuse in any court, and that if your client's case has to be dismissed today because you did not prepare the case for trial, your client will sue you, and I will prefer you to the Texas State Bar to be disbarred. So he really doesn't want that. Now imagine if each of his clients did that. If you get 10 different disbar referrals from a court or from different courts, they're going to do it. They're going to pull your license away and you're done and you will never be a lawyer again. So that would make it tough. I would then have to sue the law firm to get the money. But let's see. Let's say we go to trial let's say we're there and he says he's not ready to take it to trial. And let's say each one of us says, Your Honor, I'm going to try and do this myself. I've paid an attorney out of my pocket to advise me, so he's going to, as he can, he'll offer me a couple hours advice each week on what papers I have to file and what I'll do, and I'll just sit here and watch what the other lawyers do, and I'm ready to go ahead and see what I can do. What could happen is, let's say you get a verdict of maybe $50,000 for your pain and suffering and your lost wages and for your wife's loss of her consortium. But at the same time, let's say that you, like everybody else, because they don't cut anybody short. They just say, here's a $500 million divided 5 ways. Let's say you get one of those and you agree with your attorney to take $100 million. Or what happens then is that Johnson & Johnson comes in and says, well, we'll offer you $2 million to split 5 ways. So really you get, $400,000. Well, if we signed this agreement, you wouldn't get $400,000. You would only get $200,000. Hey, that's not fair. No, it's not. But you would get $200,000, which is a lot of money. And when the next 5 go up there, you would get a percentage of what they get. So let's say all 5 of them, let's say 3 of them are members of our team. Let's say they get $500 million, but Johnson & Johnson wears them down to $5 million to split 5 ways. So now each one of them gets $1 million. Well, the first one now has to split his $500,000. Each one got $5 million. So then he would take $2.5 million for himself, and $2.5 million he would put in the pot that gets divided among all of you people, including you. You're still in the pot. The next person, we said 3 of them were in our team. So the next one takes half of what they win in punitive damages, put it in the pot, and all 20 of us split it that way. The next person puts the $2.5 million in the pot. We split it 20 ways. And so that way, each of us, although we give away half of our big, huge socket to them, we're going to keep getting income from each case that goes forward. Each case that goes forward, we're going to hope they get punitive damages. Now, that could end any time. It could end with the next case that goes. But that is how the program would work. And so at first, you're going to seem like, oh, this is tough. I mean, Johnson & Johnson has whittled me down from $500 million to now I'm really only going to accept $10 million between me and 4 other people. So that's $2 million each. And now you're saying $1 million of that you're taking for your plan? Yes, we're taking $1 million of that and we're dividing it between the 20 people that are waiting. That's $50,000 each. And you are in line for the next group of people. So if the next group of people get, let's say, $5 million to split 5 ways is what you end up with. Well, so $500,000 of that will be split among the 15 remaining people. Or do we get all 20? I don't know. We'd have to look at that. So we would just keep splitting it up among us. So then in the end, each person would end up with, if we all get punitive damages, whatever you gave away initially, you would actually end up with that at the very end, at the long run. You'd have to wait it out. But on the other hand, that way you have insurance that you're going to be getting money soon. Even though your case is not the next case up, you might be 10 years away, whoever is next is going to pay you part of his winnings. Not a big part, half of it he's going to keep. And of course, that makes it so that you can argue better if you're in there and your lawyer's saying, look, Johnson & Johnson's offering $3 million to divide 5 ways. Just take it. And you said, I need a little bit more money. No, I think I want, let's get them up to $5 million to divide 5 ways. And you would get one of those $5 million. Half would go into your pocket, which would hold you for quite a while. And the other half would go to the team here, and we'd split it up evenly among the other 19 of us. And we would keep splitting it that way as each team goes up. so that it's like money in the bank that keeps sending you a check every year. And that way, we all would have kind of a stake that would keep us alive. Nobody would have to die without ever seeing any money from the case. That's really important. And that's the way we're going to at least look into that. I'm expecting to get some messages from people that will say, well, I think there might be, legalities, difficulties, but, it's just a thought out loud. It's not a plan. We're certainly not inviting or trying to coax anybody into joining the plan, because there is no plan right now. But that's where we're at right now, and that is the great program that I came up with, and obviously it's not come up with all the way. There's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts that have to be figured out. It has to be put into writing. It has to have attorneys look at it to make sure it's all legal. It has to be made bulletproof so that nobody could get their share of the money and take off and not split it with us, especially after they had already gotten 2 or 3 payouts from other clients. That would be pretty bad. And I think an accountant is going to tell us that there might be another way to do it that would be more fair, so that if somebody's already gotten 2 or 3 payouts, he gets a smaller share than the other people this is their first time getting a payout. We have to look into that, and we've got lots of time to look into that. And that's why I've said this thing's going to be completely on hold till January. That's when we'll start turning it into paper. If all the lawyers and everything like that say it can be done legally, ethically, et cetera, et cetera. So that's my program, and you are welcome to tell me what you think. You can look down below where the comments are. You can put a comment. Please, if you think this has anything that will help you get through the nightmare of the Dupuy Pinnacle, or if you want to tell me how you did. If you want to tell me, well, we settled with Johnson & Johnson and we're happy as clams, we got a fair settlement, let me know. Send me the name of your lawyer maybe, and so I can call him up or her up and say, hey, I'd like to get on over there. So you can put that in the comments below. I'm Glenn. I'm the host of your show, and I will be talking to you again next week.